Throughout many artists' come-ups, they attempt to build and grow out their careers with their best friend, allowing many duos to form within the music industry. Unfortunately, as we see through numerous rapper duos, they tend to tear apart due to altercations arising between the rappers. After all, these conflicts arise due to the fear of one of the rappers being deemed as the other's sidekick. So in hopes to escape this narrative, they have to perform shady tactics to earn their own spotlight, thus causing fans to witness the end of many iconic duos that have cemented themselves within the music industry. So join me today as we delve into the history of many iconic rap duos and why exactly they broke apart. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. During the 2016 SoundCloud era, two rappers of the names of Playboi Carti and liluzivert were slowly making their ways within the underground. The two would be known as a remarkable duo with such hits like Shoota, Woke Up Like This, and Lookin'. But sadly, the duo seemed like it crumbled since the two aren't seen around each other nor have officially released any new music together in modern times. So, when did their relationship begin? How did it end? And are they ever going to reunite? Playboi Carti and liluzivert met sometime in 2015 in which they started making music together. This would be around the time when Carti began being seen with A$AP Rocky and the rest of the mob, making a name for himself, while Uzi was starting to become a well-known artist within the scene, especially through the release of his Love Is Rage project. The two would evidently become great friends due to them having the same passion for music. However, Uzi would be much bigger than Carti since he had hits like You Are Right and Money Longer. He would even have a #1 song on Billboard with his feature on the Migos' track Bad and Bougie. Now, compare this to Carti, who didn't have hits that brought him into the mainstream, since, at the time, he was only getting a little buzz through the songs Broke Boy and Plug. So Carti linking up with someone who's becoming a mainstream rapper was extremely detrimental towards his career, which we will see throughout their history together. Their first track together was titled Left Right, which dropped on January 28, 2016. Since this song became fairly popular, it led to the two to announce the Left Right tour. Then a few months would pass and Uzi would drop the Perfect Love tape, which contained a Carti feature on the song Of Course We Ghetto Flowers. Soon after, Carti was aiming to announce and release his debut mixtape over the course of the following year. However, due to him being a smaller artist, he needed a way to breach out of the underground and enter the mainstream. Luckily, Carti's right-hand man is currently at the height of his career after he dropped his biggest track called XO Tour Life, which is currently sitting on 2.1 billion streams on Spotify. Through Uzi's hype, Carti saw the potential to boost his name out into the mainstream, which is why he dropped the singles Woke Up Like This and Lookin', which both featured Uzi before releasing his debut mixtape. Unsurprisingly, these singles ended up being Carti's biggest songs at the time, with both of them acquiring tens of millions of streams. Woke Up Like This also ended up being one of Carti's biggest songs within his discography. This further depicted how lucky Carti was for being close to Uzi, as Uzi practically aided in exposing Carti's music to a wider audience. By this point, the two's relationship started increasing as they both began being around each other very frequently. It seemed as if the two were brothers, causing them to be inseparable, which is why Carti would state that him and Uzi are always in the studio together in an interview with Genius.
Me and Uzi be in the studio together at all times, and we just be knowing, you know what I'm saying? We're a team.
Although the two had an extremely tight bond, it didn't deny the fact that Uzi was much bigger than Carti at the time. This was further shown after the release of Love Is Rage 2, which sold over 135,000 first week and landed at the #1 spot on the Billboard 200. Now, comparing those numbers to Carti's first mixtape, self-titled, it only sold 28,000 first week. Keep in mind, this dropped around the same time as Love Is Rage 2, and it became fairly apparent who was the bigger artist. To further solidify the duo and help Carti reach even higher heights within his career, it only made sense for the two to begin developing their collaborative mixtape, 1629. The first instance of them working on this tape is when Carti posted on his Snapchat story saying, "Carti Uzi tape, Uzi Carti tape, 1629, with 16 relating to the 1600 area code of Uzi's block in Philadelphia, and 29 standing for the 2900 area code of Carti's block in Atlanta. This was the first time where they publicized that they were working on a tape together and that it would drop very soon. Starting from this day, it would begin the wait for the collab tape, as the tape would have a very shaky rollout. This would be due to leakers leaking many songs off the project. The first notable song that got leaked was Breaking the Bank, which only boosted fans' excitement for the duo's joint album. Luckily, This leak didn't seem to ruin any chances of the tape releasing, as they were still rolling out the project. They soon announced a tour, further confirming the album's existence. Unfortunately, just 24 hours following the tour's announcement, Uzi would declare that he will not be going on tour with Carti because he needs to focus on his own music. This would be a horrific fate for the two, as this tour would have been extremely huge and successful for both of their careers. However, ever since Uzi pulled out of the tour, neither Carti or Uzi would speak about 1629 for a while, causing many to question, why did Uzi pull out the tour? And does that mean 1629 is still going to release? Well, although there aren't concrete answers to both of these questions, there are still possible answers to them. As I previously mentioned, Uzi was fairly bigger than Carti, so working with a smaller artist wasn't going to aid his career. So maybe Uzi felt as if it was useless to drop a tape with Carti. Now, if that wasn't the case, it's possible that this was the opposite for Carti. After all, two of his biggest songs at the time had Uzi features, and if 1629 dropped, then every big song he has would contain an Uzi feature, further strengthening Carti as Uzi's sidekick. If neither of these options were the reason for 1629 being talked about, it's possible that the leakers were the problem for the tape being trapped in purgatory. Like I said prior, Break the Bank would evidently leak online, causing fans to be hyped up for their album. Knowing this, Carti would take to his Twitter to tease the Break the Bank music video, telling everyone that it's going to drop at the end of December. Sadly, Carti would quickly take down the tweet and the song was never released, ultimately disappointing many fans who were excited to officially hear the single. By this point, people assumed that 1629 was never going to drop, especially since this would be the last moment where Carti acknowledged the collaborative project. Which is just odd, because only a few songs leaked, and knowing how close the duo were, they should have plenty of songs recorded together. This would in fact be true, as Carti would state in an interview on how him and Uzi have been making music together since 2015, in which the fans would soon get to hear as they entered 2018. This is because multiple other songs like Bankroll, Big Bank, and Throw It Up were all supposed to be on 1629, but ended up leaking. This trend of leaks halting or affecting the release of an album wasn't new to the duo, as they both dealt with issues with leakers. Beginning with the fact that leakers affected Carti's debut studio album, Die Lit. See, what happened was that the lead single off the project, Love Hurts featuring Travis Scott, seemingly appeared online. Soon after, a plethora of other songs from the project were also leaked, having fans listen to such tracks like Foreign, Shoota, and Choppa Will Miss early. This caused Carti and his team to drop the album earlier than planned so they could capitalize on people listening to the project since they got it early, ultimately causing Die Lit to swiftly release on May 11th, 2018. Shoota, which was one of the leaks I mentioned prior, would still remain on the album. This track would feature Uzi and significantly boost Carti's career, with it being one of his biggest songs. Uzi would also have his fair share of issues with leakers, especially since he was caught pressing someone for leaking their music. Now, heading into 2019, and 1629 is still nowhere to be found, and the two have started to focus on their own careers, as Carti started to develop a new look and rollout for his next album, Whole Lotta Red, resulting in him removing 1629 from his Instagram bio. As for Uzi, he would be trying to release his album, Eternal to Take, over the course of multiple months since he was having label issues. Uzi eventually got fed up with his label and said he was going to retire on his Instagram story, leading Uzi to release the iconic single, Free Uzi, in hopes his fans could tell his label to let him drop. By this point, it is clear that the two had their own separate paths to follow. They needed to focus on their own separate careers in order to grow as separate artists, causing many to believe that 1629 is never going to drop and most likely got scrapped. Uzi would speak upon the tape sometime during this year on his Instagram Live.
Y'all asked me one thing about Carti. Y'all said that why we ain't dropped 1629, bro. I said I don't got the songs. I don't have them.
This just further disappointed fans more, as it's pretty evident that 1629 is not going to release. As the songs kept getting leaked, the artists themselves didn't even have access to the songs, and they both went on their own separate paths. Nevertheless, the fans still gravitated towards the duo's friendship. Even though it was 2019 and it's been a few years into their relationship, people still looked at Carti and Uzi as an iconic duo. But fans noticed that their last official single together was Shoota off of Carti's Die Lit album. So they began wondering, are Carti and Uzi still friends? In which a fan would ask Uzi on Twitter in November 2019, saying, "Are you and Carti on good terms?" In which Uzi would respond with, "No!" Just a day after this, Uzi would respond to another fan saying, "What about you and Carti?" Uzi then said, "Nothing, I just took a different route." Uzi claiming this further exacerbated the idea that the two don't have beef with one another and just wanted to focus on each of their careers, which is completely understandable since it's better for neither of them to be looking at one another as each other's sidekicks. This is because being a rapper's sidekick is looked down upon within the rap industry. Not only this, the two simply didn't have enough time to link up and develop music together. After all, they have their own music to work on. However, some fans believe that there is more to the story behind the two's relationship, since it's odd that the two would seemingly be tight with each other for so long, then suddenly stop being seen with each other. It's as if they went from being best friends to strangers. Well, the best possible answer as to why the two stopped being close is the fact that Playboi Carti used Uzi just to get his clout up. See, Carti is known for using his friends to help boost his clout. For example, very early on in his career, Carti used his close friend Pierre Bourne in order to jumpstart his career, as many of his popular songs are produced by him. Nevertheless, when it came to Carti to drop Whole Lotta Red, Pierre only had 2 producer credited songs. Now, Carti is barely seen with Pierre and seems to have had minor conflicts with him over the years. Now, I don't want to dive in too deep into that topic because I don't want to stray away from the video, but if you want to know more regarding those two, I suggest watching Domikowski's video because he covers the topic very well. Now, returning back to Uzi, he'd finally drop his highly anticipated album, Eternal Take, in March 2020, meaning that Carti and Uzi haven't officially collabed in over 2 years. Some thought that Carti would appear on the album because before the tape's release, Uzi would respond to yet another fan confirming that he's not beefing with Carti. Then another fan would state, "You said you and Carti has over 1,000 songs together, drop one." In which Uzi quote retweeted the comment saying, "I would love, just don't know where he at," revealing that Carti is the one preventing the two from dropping another track since he hasn't hit up Uzi and hasn't even linked up with him in a while. Then, a few weeks passed by when a fan posted a leaked 1629 song called Big Bank and asked Uzi are they ever going to hear this song officially. Although Uzi never said anything, he did retweet the tweet, making it seem like Carti was going to be on Eternal Take. Overall, having many become excited for Eternal Take to drop since it's been 2 years since their last official collab. Unfortunately, the fans immediately became disappointed when the album dropped as there were no Carti features on the project. A month would pass by and Carti would start teasing his next single, Atme, by posting a cover to the song on Twitter. On that same day, Carti would post a bunch of tweets with one of them reading, "I cannot beef with ya." Uzi seemed to feel some type of way, which is why the next day he posted a picture of himself recreating the Atme cover and put the caption, "Just meh." Due to Uzi posting this, fans began to think that this was the start of their favorite rap duo ending since it looked like the two were beefing. After all, a month prior to him recreating the cover art, Uzi was describing how he hasn't seen Carti in a minute and that he wants to drop music with him. So in retaliation, it appeared as if Uzi recreated one of Carti's singles cover. Sadly, this was just the beginning of their beef as the situation was about to escalate. Following Uzi posting his version of the Atme cover, Uzi tweeted once more saying, "This shit is about to be fun." Then Playboi Carti and Lil Uzi Vert's producer, Molly Raw, tweeted out, "New Carti shit slap." This tweet was in reference to Atme due to the fact that it was Carti's latest single that was dropped around the time of this tweet. Uzi would also speak about the track by him quote retweeting Molly Raw's tweet with a laughing emoji, seemingly dissing Carti's new single by laughing at Molly's tweet, meaning that Uzi probably thought the single was trash. Then Uzi would post yet another mysterious message by simply tweeting out Playboi Carti with an upside down smiling emoji. So, to summarize everything, Uzi basically recreated the Atme cover, then laughed at the fact that someone thought Carti's new single was hard, then simply tweeting out Playboi Carti. It caused the fans to become severely perplexed on what was happening between the two. Were they really beefing, or is it simply Uzi trying to gain attention from everybody? Well, it seemed as if the latter was the case and Uzi just pulled a genius marketing strategy in promoting Carti's new single. This is because Carti would tweet out Monday, in which Uzi responded by tweeting, "At Playboi Carti, so you dropping Monday? Bet it." Then he followed up this tweet with another tweet saying, "Monday," in the same style Carti did. This caused people to believe that Carti and Uzi were going to release a single together on Monday, which meant after 2 years of no music with each other, fans were finally going to officially receive a new song from the iconic duo, thus sparking the conversation up yet again on if 1629 was actually going to drop. Well, funnily enough, Monday came around and nothing dropped. No music from either Carti or Uzi, as well as none featuring the two. 1629 is still in purgatory, and all the fans were left with was disappointment. It appeared that the only reason the two were acknowledging each other was just so they could troll their fans. Uzi then continued trolling everyone by tweeting out, "Shit not fake, we already linked and fought each other, we good." Then about a week following this, Carti would tweet out, "@liluzivert, I love you twin." Soon after, Uzi responded by saying that he loves him back, leading fans to once more thinking that all the beef was manufactured so they could set up the rollout for 1629. Finally, the end of the duo's hiatus was near, and fans were actually going to hear the new music amongst the two. And well, it looked as the days were progressing, 1629 was actually on the horizon since a photo of the two in the studio leaked on the internet following what transpired earlier. The picture of them was taken in Philly where they were playing on the PlayStation together and developed the track SRT. Due to this, Carti would actually miss his son's birth, in which this occurrence is something that Iggy Azalea, Carti's ex, would expose around the time his sophomore studio album, Whole Lotta Red, dropped. Whole Lotta Red evidently dropped on Christmas Day of 2020, and fans quickly noticed how there were no Uzi feature on the project, leaving many disappointed once again. Which is severely confusing since the two have been tweeting at each other and even been seen together in the studio. Not to mention, prior to the release of Whole Lotta Red, Uzi would even claim that he's on the album.
I asked Uzi if he a whole lot of red.
Yeah, I'm on track 3 and track 16.
From here, anything relating to the two went dark until August 2021, where Uzi tweeted 1629 with many kiss emojis. He then followed this up by saying, "Bro, just ask Carti," which is probably a response to fans asking where 1629 is. Nonetheless, fans didn't fall for his trolling this time, as many of them knew that Uzi put these tweets out just for attention. Funnily enough, it seemed like history repeated itself since, like 2017, Uzi and Carti both dropped their respective solo bodies of work, which meant their own separate careers have been taking off, so now it's about the right time to release their collaborative project. Sadly, from the way Uzi was tweeting over the last couple of years, it looked like Carti wasn't too fond of the idea of releasing 1629, which is why Uzi further spoke about 1629 while talking to Aiden Ross on his stream.
Okay, someone said if you could have a collab album with somebody, I think I've asked you before probably, but like who would it be? Any collab album with somebody.
If I could drop a collab album right now, I'd probably drop. The first collab album I want to drop is 1629.
That's you and Carti, right?
You tell me.
By him saying this, Uzi would reveal that he wants to release 1629 as much as the fans want it. It's just that he's waiting on Carti to want to develop the album together. However, what's confusing is that a year later, Carti would be asked a question regarding 1629 in an interview with XXL, to which he said, "Uzi's working on mad music right now. I don't know if he's serious about a lot of things, but I hope one day we could change the world with that for sure." Now, this is just weird because Uzi's the one explaining how he's waiting for Carti to be ready to make the album, but Carti's the one saying how he needs Uzi to be ready. If you ask me, this just seems like a way for Carti to dodge the question regarding the album. Unlike Carti, Uzi would be straightforward when it came to their collab tape, which is why during that same phone call with Aiden Ross, he would reveal that no one has truly heard 1629 and that he's been working with Carti recently to that call.
You know what's crazy? You talking about you had the leaks, but we recorded 1629 in London and nobody had them. I don't even have them, so new, and I'm talking about from 2020 to 2022. Because I had saw Carti in New York in 2022. From 20 to 2022, me and Carti probably got 40 songs.
This revealed that Carti and Uzi were seemingly developing a version 2 of 1629 during 2021 to 2022. So when the collab tape officially releases, fans would get to hear entirely unheard new songs instead of old ones that some might have heard. Ultimately leaving Uzi to end the phone call with Aiden by saying that it's between him and Carti if the project ever officially releases. This is because they need to link up with one another, head to the studio, and fully focus on developing their collab tape. Following this call, Carti and Uzi would be seen twice in 2021, in which the first time they were spotted together was when the two were seen wearing unreleased merch from Carti's brand, Narcissist. Then in Rolling Loud New York in 2021, Carti would bring out Uzi so the two could perform their hit track, Shoota, together. This was a huge moment for fans, as this was the first time in a long time where people saw the two performing. Sadly, once more, any new information regarding the two went silent until 2023, where Uzi was preparing to release his next album titled Pink Tape. In the midst of the album's rollout, Uzi would post on his Instagram story saying, "Me and my love about to take over the world." This had fans thinking that a 1629 collab song was potentially on the way for Uzi's album. Unfortunately, just like how fans were disappointed with no Carti feature on Eternal Will Take, fans would be disappointed again when they noticed that there is no Carti feature on Pink Tape. But we got lucky, since Uzi's team accidentally leaked the track with him and Carti, called Cassette, on YouTube by them uploading the audio for the song instead of Patience featuring Don Toliver, which was the song that was supposed to be uploaded. Just hours after this mishap, Uzi's team took down the song and uploaded the song that was supposed to be on YouTube. However, there is more to the story than just someone accidentally releasing the track, as fellow YouTuber Babalam had some inside information on what exactly transpired.
So Carti was actually on it at one point, like 5 days ago. And then he pulled the plug on the song because he didn't like it. It wasn't adhesive or cohesive with his opium sound, like the dark, grungy, like rock star shit for his next album. He wasn't answering Uzi or sending him another verse. He was just saying, like, he wasn't even messaging him at all. So he ghosted him until the day before Pink Tape, where then he asked for like all the Pink Tape songs allegedly. Obviously at that point, it's just too late.
So basically, Carti was just being fake towards Uzi and screwed him over his feature on the album. Now, it's 2024, and the most recent news regarding the two's relationship comes from a fan page that posted a lot of information on their story. According to this Instagram story, Carti has been acting mad fake towards Uzi since 2020, and that Uzi stated that he doesn't want no collab album with a dude who goes on and off like a light switch, truly revealing that Uzi has lost interest in creating a collab tape with Carti and is ready to move on to other endeavors. After all, he recently announced that he's working on his final album, Love is Rage 3, and is ready to retire after he goes on tour for that project. And well, that leaves the question of, are we ever going to hear another collaboration from the two? And to be honest, in my opinion, we probably are not, since Carti is mainly focused on working with artists that are much bigger than him in order to boost his career, which is fairly apparent with his recent official releases he's been clearing. Alongside the fact that it's been 6 years since Shuda, it is extremely unlikely that Carti is going to work with Uzi again, since it seems like he's the one dodging Uzi. Although, back in September 2023, Carti would preview a song with him and Uzi during his birthday party that he had with his fans. Nevertheless, it's almost been a year since then, and the song has yet to officially release, with it being leaked months prior. In the modern day, Carti is preparing to drop his highly anticipated album, I Am Music, and everyone pretty much gave up hope on Uzi appearing on the project. As the self-proclaimed narcissist, Carti only wants to keep getting bigger, and to him, he's reached a point where he's bigger than Uzi. So working with him isn't going to boost his career at all. Even though it's severely unlikely, hopefully Lil Uzi Vert is on Playboi Carti's next album. XXXTentacion and Ski Mask the Slump God were once regarded as the most recognizable duo within the 2016 SoundCloud scene, as they were always seen around each other and creating music together, allowing themselves to be cemented as brothers to many of their fans. Sadly, the duo would eventually get into some issues, causing them to tear apart, since they got into beef over the fear of being in each other's shadow, and then stopped developing new songs with each other. So what exactly happened between the duo? Well, to answer this, it's best to see how the relationship started. The two would meet while being in the same juvenile detention back in 2013. Since the two were both in juvenile detention and met each other, they would begin discussing their interest for music amongst one another. The idea first arose when Ski started freestyling in front of X for fun, in which X saw potential in Ski and kept telling him to write more to improve his work. As the days kept passing while they're in juvenile detention, the bond between them would increase exponentially. In fact, Ski would turn 16 while in the detention center, and as a birthday gift, X would pass Ski his lunch. They eventually both got out of juvenile detention within that same year and kept contact with one another. Ski would be the first one out since his charges were not as severe. Soon after, X would get released as well. Once out, X would be transferred to Ski's high school, in which the two kept performing mischievous stunts together. The two would get into many fights after school, eventually getting kicked out of school, and even planning on robbing people's houses for money. But they would soon realize that this isn't a good way of living, as they would always need money. Not only this, Ski had just turned the age where he'd be classified as an adult within the Florida jail system, meaning that if he gets in any more trouble, he's gonna go to jail. As for X, he is now free after having severe charges against him, so getting to any more altercations isn't very smart. If either one of these two would get caught doing illegal activities again, they would instantly be sent to a high established prison for the rest of their lives. This is why X would save up his money to purchase a blue snowball mic so he could make music and possibly earn money from it too. Ski, seeing X put in the work to start his passion for rapping, influenced him to do the same, causing the duo to start rapping at this point in time. A few months would pass following this moment, and Ski would begin his new group, Very Rare, in which he invited X to join. X would join the collective, but eventually left due to him wanting to form his own crew called Members Only. Ski would end up joining this collective later down the line. Once Ski joined, the duo would eventually release their first collab project named Members Only Volume 1 in April 2015. This tape would have such hits like Freddy vs. Jason, Goddamn, and Fuck, bringing the two traction to their name. Then in October of that same year, the group would drop another collective mixtape called Members Only Volume 2, which consisted of many more members of the group as X added members after Members Only Volume 1. However, there would be so many members added around this time that it's hard to tell who were official members of the collective. But just to name a few, these members consisted of Fuck It, Playboi Tarantino, Kilo Jr., 100 Jr., SNDNG Chills, and Yaprak Asimov. By this point, X, Ski, and Members Only were making moves within the underground scene in Florida. Sadly, even with the success X was having with his career, it wouldn't stop him from performing criminal activities as he and 3 other colleagues would attempt to rob someone's house in Broward County, Florida. As they entered the house, X would immediately press the homeowner, striking him with his handgun multiple times. While this was occurring, X's colleagues began screaming at the homeowner asking where the money is. The 4 then took an iPad, a PSP, a phone, and $20 from the victim. After X and the rest left the establishment, the homeowner instantly called the cops and was able to identify him due to his public Twitter account. X would end up being arrested and charged with his crime around a year later. But before he got arrested, a couple important events would begin to transpire. For starters, in December 2015, X would drop Look At Me, which ended up becoming one of his biggest songs to date, earning him 1.4 billion streams on Spotify. However, the song didn't immediately blow up as it started gaining buzz a few months after its release. X wouldn't be the only one gaining traction as Ski Mask also started to become a recognizable figure within the underground. This is due to Ski releasing his first mixtape, Drown in Designer, in May 2016. The tape would contain the songs Take a Step Back and Rip Roach, which both had XXXTentacion features, allowing the songs to be pushed into new heights. Due to this, both of these songs ended up being huge within the underground scene in 2016 and ended up becoming one of Ski Mask's biggest songs. Unfortunately, as I mentioned prior, X would eventually get arrested for aggravated battery and home invasion. Although X would be in prison, this would be the time where his career began escalating as more and more people were gravitating towards his music, allowing his old and new fans to be interested in the artist's craft, having them wanting new music and hoping for X to be released from prison. Luckily, these fans would have music to hold them down for the time being, as they began to notice who X would frequently collaborate with. And if you haven't guessed by now, that collaborator was his closest friend, Ski Mask the Slump God. So, while X was in jail, Ski was paving the way for his career to grow, thus leading the two to become an iconic duo that many loved, as they would always be around each other, whether it was during interviews, performing, or making music. They would always be by each other's side. Unfortunately, one of the two would quickly notice where their career was heading due to fans looking at them as the other's shadow. See, while X was in jail, many fans went towards Ski for answers, by them repeatedly asking Ski when is X going to be free. This agitated Ski Mask as he didn't want to be looked at as X's sidekick and rather be looked at as his own artist. After all, he puts in the work and develops his craft so he can remain consistent for his fans. So the fans forcing him into the position where he's just looked at as the guy who makes music with X ultimately annoys him. X eventually got freed from jail due to him getting a $10,000 bond. But X wouldn't be free for long as he got arrested yet again a month later. However, just like before, this didn't prevent X's career from increasing even more, as he would get shouted out by A$AP Rocky by him saying,
"Free my nigga XXX, I can't wait till you come home, fuck is you talking about?"
And his single, Look at Me, entered the Billboard Hot 100 at the 95th spot. Eventually, X would plead no contest to the home invasion trial and was let out from jail on probation. Once out of jail, X would immediately start production on his mixtape, Revenge, which evidently dropped in May 2017 and peaked at the 44th spot on Billboard. Soon after, he announced his revenge tour with Ski Mask the Slump God and the rest of members only. By this point, it seemed as if Ski's and X's career were back on track and ready to progress further as they were slowly reaching mainstream status. Well, this was going to be the case if Ski Mask didn't start distancing himself away from X after the revenge tour finished. This was an odd occurrence because the two were severely tight with each other and were very close friends for a long time. In fact, X would even get involved in Ski Mask's altercations to help protect him. So why is Ski suddenly switching up? To best answer that question, we have to look at the first instance where X noticed that Ski is slowly distancing himself away from him. This would be when X went on his Instagram story to tell everyone to not trust anyone in the industry and that he can't even trust his close friends anymore.
If you're an artist and you're trying to work with anyone in the industry, understand that you cannot trust anyone. People that you trust, people that are your friends, people that are close to you, the people you do business with will always try and fuck you over. Trust no one. Do not trust anyone. Today was a real fucked up day for me because people I trusted with my home, people I trusted with my life had shown me today that they can't be trusted. So from this day forward, I'm going to treat everyone very, 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 very differently. And I'm going to be... All I ask from my fans and supporters today is to give me some sort of good energy or positive energy because I'm having a really fucking bad day and I'm very disappointed today.
X then proceeded to explain on what happened between him and Ski.
So what happened with me and Ski, to explain it in an appropriate way and in a way that I can respect, it was just, I guess, a lack of appreciation on his end, not because of me, I guess just from a business perspective, but he put a business perspective before a personal relationship, and I've been with him as a friend and as a brother for a very long time, so, I mean, it's just on some, like, other shit, to be honest. It's not even on some, like, it's not even on anything I've done wrong. You can't even say I've done anything to him. And I wouldn't go on the internet and express that if I didn't care about the relationship, but you already know how it goes. People use you to get where they want to go and then part ways, and I've been used a lot.
This depicted X as being confused on why Ski is trying to separate himself from him. After all, like I explained earlier within their careers, Ski was always looked at as a sidekick to X. He never wanted to disrespect X in any capacity, but in order to strive within the rap game, he needed to be looked at as an independent artist. Ski Mask will always have love for X and be by his side no matter what, which is why he went on his Instagram story to respond to X on the real reason why he's been distancing himself away from him.
I'll always love that alien looking nigga named XXX, but I have to distance myself because it's like nobody would see me as an individual rapper if I don't.
This just further portrayed how Ski felt as if he was forever going to be stuck within X's shadow. If he didn't stray away from his closest friend, many were only going to look at Ski as X's best friend. This severely hurt Ski as he dedicated his life to his craft. So building up a fan base that only looks at him as an underling compared to X isn't the best feeling. Thus causing Ski to remove Take a Step Back, which was his biggest song at the time off his SoundCloud since it had an X feature. This is so people didn't start to create the narrative that the only reason why that song blew up was due to the X feature it had. Now, not only this was hurting Ski, this was also hurting X as he was beginning to miss his best friend. As not only one, but two videos came out of him saying how much he misses his brother. Nevertheless, Ski would evidently come out with the actual reason why he had to leave X. This is due to him posting on his Instagram story saying how X wanted to sacrifice him, as well as saying how X threatened his whole family. Obviously, this was severely messed up and outright unsettling, which is why it provided us with much more of an insight as to why Ski had to leave X behind. Although this transpired, Ski strangely asked X for a feature sometime later down the line. Now, this is just strange as he just went on a tangent as to why he needed to separate himself from X. X would then publicize this by rejecting Ski's offer on his Instagram story by elaborating, "My response to the request for the song by Ski is no. I am going to destroy all of these rappers. None of them are friends to me. They don't give a fuck about me. They just want my energy, keeping my foot on their throat. Fuck all of them. Shortly after this, XXXTentacion seemingly had a change of heart and tweeted, I'm gonna get on ski tape, but I'm only doing this because I want to see him succeed in his own light in hopes that it will make him feel better. So by now, it is pretty apparent that X and Ski's relationship was very shaky at this point in time, as X couldn't understand why Ski was paving his own path without him, and they were both on and off with each other. Well, luckily, in the beginning of 2018, X would get a better grasp on why Ski wanted to separate himself from him and tell the world that he kinda gets why he did what he did whilst on a FaceTime call with DJ Academics.
Niggas ain't gonna treat me and Ski like we Mario and Luigi. No, we both Mario. Mario got like 4 lives, right? We share a life. You know what I'm saying? If I die right now, he come. And if he die right now, I come. We share lives. It ain't no motherfucking sidekick. None of that. It's not no Goku and Vegeta. You know what I'm saying? No, bro. We both fucking Goku.
X would soon after explain how he felt a way that Ski made a big deal out of the sacrifice thing when he didn't mean no harm by it since he wasn't being serious.
Like, the only thing that wasn't cool to me is the nigga said I was gonna sacrifice him because I've talked to him since and he admitted he was wrong and that he was bugging.
Yeah,
I'm mad because
that sacrifice should sound
I'm
like
mad
something.
because he didn't go on the internet and say that he said he was bugging, but he came to me and he said, yo, I was wrong, I was bugging.
But you're not sacrificing nobody. Just clear that up.
No, bro, I sacrificed my fucking self. I went to jail for months and we all blew the fuck up. I was the sacrifice, nigga. Niggas are just fucking ungrateful. I was the sacrifice. I went to jail and was the fucking sacrifice. That's why I'm not trying to go through certain shit no more. Because when I got out, everybody latched onto me like fucking vampires, sucked up my energy, and then left and didn't realize who the fuck they was sucking blood from. And I've been angry about this shit since. Because I lost friends, bro. I lost friends to this fame shit, bro. I lost my fucking brother, and then even my family started acting different.
Now, X isn't entirely wrong as he is the bigger artist, so people close to him will only look at him as a clout booster. This can be seen within the Carti and Uzi story that I told earlier, as Carti used Uzi to push his name into the mainstream. And well, it looked like Ski wanted to pull a similar maneuver to Carti when asking X for features before the release of his album, which is overall just shady from Ski, as he was just complaining how he wanted to be independent from X, but instantly wanted the clout that he could bring him. Now, returning back to the FaceTime call between Academics and X would be asked how he would feel if he was put in Ski Mask's shoes and he was the one in Ski's shadow, in which X would explain that he wouldn't have distanced himself away from him and instead look at things as friendly competition. He went on to elaborate how he'd go into it head first and try to overtake his spotlight, to which he's not wrong, since Ski mainly ruined his friendship with X due to his fear of being stuck within X's shadow. Now, when looking at official releases containing the duo, their last official release would be on Members Only Volume 3 through the tracks Off the Wall, What Did XXXTentacion, H2O, Static Shock, 4P, and Bowser. Unfortunately, when looking at X's albums 17 ? You'll immediately notice how there aren't any Ski Mask features, which left fans pretty disappointed. But you have to remember that Ski was asking X for features after saying he didn't want to be his sidekick anymore, so him not being on these projects makes sense. And it looked like Ski kept his word too, as his project, The Book of Eli, would release without any X features as well, which left many sad because it seemingly confirmed that the two were not making any new music together anymore. However, at Rolling Loud Miami 2018, Ski Mask and X reunited and got to perform one last time together. This ended up becoming a legendary performance, with it definitely solidifying the two as a legendary duo within the industry. Not only this, X will go towards Ski and tell him that he loves him, in which Ski would say he loves him back, seemingly confirming whatever beef the two previously had has been resolved.
Yo, bro, I love you, bro.
I love you too, fam.
I love you, bro.
Sadly, this interaction ended up being fake when X revealed that the energy Ski was giving seemed off.
That whole interaction was fake as fuck. Yeah. Well, my part was real, but his was fake.
Ski Mask would respond to this a year later in an interview with Billboard where he states, "He had told me that my vision was blurred. I don't remember exactly the word he used, but he said basically that my vision was blurred, that my decision making wasn't what it used to be, and I was basically like, I argued with him, but he was trying to tell me about myself and how I could do better for myself, and I wasn't trying to take it like that. I was taking it as, you're just trying to show me that you're better than me. I already know that you're better than me." That's how I felt at the time. It wasn't jealousy, it was just me wanting to be my own man, seeing how much Jose was his own man. So this revealed that Ski was denying X's aid and kept trying to push himself as a separate artist from X. Clearly, he was too frightened by the idea of being in his shadow. Unfortunately, Ski would come to find out that his ways were wrong when a year prior to this interview in June 2018, X sadly had an untimely passing. This affected Ski and helped him to realize that X was speaking the truth, by him saying, "I seen that my decision making was blurred. I thought what I was doing at the time was cool and was working, but then after he died, I seen what he was saying. I was like, bruh, I was going down a bad path. My career was going down a path that, if I didn't change it soon, it was going to be seen in a certain way forever. I see that now, and that's what he was basically trying to tell me. Literally, he said this, there's a cliff right there, and I'm telling you there's a cliff, and you're still gonna keep walking towards that cliff while I'm telling you it's there?" And what I said back to him was like, yeah, that cliff could be there, but there could be a strong tree branch hanging off that cliff that I could grab onto after I walk off that cliff, that I could always just back and forth, brotherly love. So by this point, Ski realized that he was too obsessed with the fact that he isn't being looked at as his own artist, as he kept pulling shady tactics in order for him to be separated from X. Sadly, this ended up being their last interaction together, with Ski keep pulling the wrong stunts that harmed his relationship with X. Although X just wanted his friend back, Ski couldn't see him as competition and kept straying away from his best friend, causing X to be sad and repeatedly ask his fans to help him get his brother back. He even decided to stop making music altogether in hopes to gain Ski's attention. Even though Ski unfortunately didn't see what he was doing back then, he fortunately does now and performs a tribute to X every time he performs. More recently, Ski Mask dropped his latest album, 11th Dimension, with him re-releasing an audio clip of X saying how much X messed with Ski. Sadly, it sucks that the duo can't develop any new music together, but one thing for certain is that they solidified themselves as one of the most iconic duos within the music industry. Before Lil Peep joined the group Gothboy Clique, he met his best friend Lil Tracy. The two were inseparable with each other and always dropped music together, as Peep always showed love towards Tracy even before they were friends. This became apparent when Peep dropped the song Beat It, in which he shouts out Tracy while he was in jail by saying, "Free Young Thug bruh, Little Tracy ho." Upon Tracy's release, his friends would immediately notify him about Peep shouting him out on the track, thus causing the two to have their first interaction on Twitter, to which they were showing each other love. Sometime after this, Nerdog, who's their producer, would bring them together, causing them to record and shoot a video for their track, YT. This would be the beginning of their long and loyal friendship towards one another. Soon after, Pete would join the Gothboy Clique collective, which consisted of Little Tracy, Yawns, Cole Hart, Wicca, and Mackind. Little Tracy and Little Pete began developing a strong relationship amongst each other after their first few encounters. They went on to create such songs like White Wine, Cold Bane, and Awful Things, which did peak at the 79th spot on Billboard. The duo also developed underground classic projects like Castles and Castles 2. By 2017, the two were already formulating the recognizability of their partnership, allowing themselves to become a fairly popular duo amongst the fans, thus paving their careers into the spotlight within the music industry. But not only were they successful business partners, they were also extremely close outside the music atmosphere. They were getting so close to the point where it looked like one of them couldn't live without the other, which is why Little Peep's mom would discuss the tightness of their relationship within Peep's documentary, Everybody's Everything.
Call me, Mama, my phone's about to die, the card isn't working. And I say every time, are you with anybody? And it was always, yeah, Tracy. So there was always this Tracy who was always with him. And I thought, okay, thank goodness for Tracy. Tracy's at least sticking by my son.
So to recap, the duo were building up a loyal following by working with each other, causing them to acquire tons of traction toward their name. Not only would they be seen recording music and performing together, they would also genuinely be there for each other no matter what. However, as we saw within the last two stories, the duo would eventually hit a roadblock that would alter their friendship forever. This roadblock would produce when one day Little Tracy began realizing that Peep was much bigger than him as they were coming up. This caused him to get jealous of Peep since he generates more numbers than him. Tracy would actually speak about the situation in an interview with No Jumper.
When did things start to go wrong between the Lil Peep / Lil Tracy best friends forever relationship that you guys had for a while?
It's just like me, I just can't be like a shadow. And it just started getting real corny, you feel me? Like, all the new fans, they just didn't know the history.
Within this clip, Tracy basically said that he was afraid of becoming known as Peep's right-hand man, and that he was afraid of being recognized as his sidekick. After all, like I mentioned before within the video, similar to the other rappers, Tracy also puts a ton of work within his craft. So building up a following that would only recognize you as a partner to someone bigger than you isn't the best feeling. Being stuck in Peep's shadow is only going to deteriorate his career rather than aid it. Due to him being prevented from entering the spotlight, Tracy would actually feel a type of way towards Peep since he never spoke against people looking at him as Peep's shadow. Tracy would further elaborate on this ideology during the same interview with No Jumper that I previewed earlier.
Okay, so do you feel like Peep did anything fucked up, or you just pissed off about sort of the way that the public was regarding it because they were, you know, it's always that way.
I mean, he never tried to like clear the subject. Like, he just never said nothing about it. He just took it all and just.
When you get in a position where you have a voice and you don't speak.
Yeah, he didn't use his voice. He just.
You know what I'm saying? You call us your brothers.
Things would only get worse from here since Peep decided to sideline him within the music video for Awful Things. See, even though Tracy was a feature on the track, he would only appear in the music video for a grand total of 10 seconds. This was obviously messed up because Little Tracy had a whole verse on the song, so having him in the video for a few seconds was only going to annoy him even more. In which he did, since in the clip I previewed earlier, Tracy mentioned how Peep should have taken an initiative to speak against those calling him a sidekick. On top of this, Peep's management actually attempted to sign Tracy, but Tracy never obliged due to him not wanting to be in Peep's shadow. Eventually, the rest of the collective, Gothboy Clique, were getting annoyed of Tracy's antics and actually kicked him out of the group. Little Tracy then put out a series of tweets targeting Peep, with some of them saying, "Screw Little Peep, take down any song with me on it," and "This shit awful as fuck," with the link of their song underneath the caption. Tracy then went on to post screenshots of messages between him and Peep. Within the DMs, Peep is seen saying, "You're my favorite human. Every situation I get into, I ask myself, what would Tracy do? It's how I stay true to myself. You're my big brother. I will always love you." Tracy would respond with, "You ain't on shit, bro. I should whoop your ass. Stay awful, my dude." This depicts how Tracy is acting immature and not addressing the scenario towards Peep, overall causing the issue to boost even more. Nevertheless, Peep never took the conflict to heart and still had love for Tracy. This was extremely apparent when Peep posted a picture of him and Tracy to celebrate Tracy's birthday. The caption would even read, "Happy B-Day, Little Tracy, the legend. We've been through so much and I will always love you no matter what." Ultimately showing that Peep still had love for Tracy, even though he was starting an altercation between them. Funnily enough, in an old interview, Little Tracy would reveal how he doesn't really care about being famous.
I really don't care about like getting fame. I just want to be like living good, home, eating, you know.
This is extremely odd since he seems to be very bothered by the fact that Peep is a much bigger artist than him. Unfortunately, in December 2017, Little Peep would sadly pass away, which affected Tracy, his family, and all his fans. For Tracy, this deeply hurted him since he didn't end on good terms with Peep, resulting in him breaking down during one of his performances when he was playing his and Peep's track, Witch Blades, truly showing how much Peep's passing was affecting him. From here, Tracy put out multiple tweets dissing other rappers like XXXTentacion, Ski Mask the Slump God, and Juice WRLD for using Peep's name when they weren't really close to him. Thankfully, Tracy stood strong and kept pursuing his passion for music, in which Tracy was still pulling in numbers, with him dropping a song called Like a Farmer with liluzivert in May 2018. Then he inspired the Diamond Records song Old Town Road. He eventually dropped his highly acclaimed project titled Anarchy, which contained the track Beautiful Nightmare. This song performed insanely well, with it having over 83 million streams on Spotify. Sadly, from here, Tracy's career began on a decline due to the emo rap phase slowly dwindling down. This became clear when his next two projects, Designer Child 2 and Saturn Child, were not met with similar reviews compared to Anarchy. More recently, he was on Cole Bennett's album All Is Yellow on the track Hello There alongside Corbin and Black Cray, which brings us to the modern day where Tracy is still consistently releasing songs, but they aren't gaining much attention. It's unfortunate that Tracy and Peep couldn't continue making music together, as they were an iconic duo within the underground, as it sucks that Tracy was too obsessed with being stuck in Peep's shadow that it affected their relationship. Now, similar to Ski Mask, Tracy has learned that he was acting immature when he was younger and could have handled things differently. Although they aren't able to continue their path to stardom, it is best to know that a duo is a staple within history and will never be forgotten. Throughout each one of these scenarios, rap duos tend to disintegrate into the abyss due to one of the two artists outshining the other. This causes the smaller artist to feel sidelined by the fans, leading them into wanting to leave their best friend so they're looked at as their own independent artist, truly removing the sidekick label that is attached to them. Nevertheless, as we saw time and time again, this ultimately caused a massive rupture between the duos' friendship. So, if you're building out your career with your best friend, try to take it as friendly competition and try to outperform one another.